So there's actually been a constant pattern that I've been seeing with when it comes to investing, marketing. The people that I'm seeing yield the best results, because obviously life has patterns to it. People who are successful, there's patterns to their life. People who are failures, whatever you consider a failure, have patterns to their life. My perspective of failure is someone who lets his vices assail him, someone who's a slave to his genitals, someone who's a slave to desires. That's a failure to me. A failure to you could be not making money. A failure to me is different. Anyway, without going on a tangent about that, the people that I'm constantly seeing make a ripple effect, make the most money inside their market, there's specific patterns to them. And the reason why I use money is because a lot of times the amount of value you provide to a market dictates how much money you make. So if you provide a lot of value, you make a lot of money, right? So that's why we got to use money as a metric here. And these people, literally what they're doing, I'm doing it right now. I'm going to explain to you what they're doing. I'm going to showcase to you what I'm doing so you can also derive some kind of idea from it and hopefully even try to indulge into it. Now I'll give you some more examples, some people actually doing this, so you can this can cement in your head. You can actually be like, wow, this is this is really, really true. With that being said, what these people are doing is that a lot of people who have the best results, what they're literally doing is they introduce a new way of getting a result into an industry that's not familiar with that mechanism. Okay, I'm going to explain that another way. So let's say hypothetically you're someone who does cold emails for let's say Shopify companies, because that's obviously a saturated niche, right? So let's say there's someone who just sends cold emails to Shopify stores. You send cold emails on behalf of Shopify stores to get them whatever the hell it is. So instead of sending cold emails to Shopify stores, you now send cold emails on behalf of private equity companies, for example, to help them get in contact with people who want to sell their businesses. Now, the reason why this is so impactful is because private equity companies or business brokers, they're used to using mail letters, conferences, and using their connections to get deal flow. So you're introducing to these people a new mechanism for them on how to get more deal flow. So it's something novel to them. They've never heard of this before, and it actually does work, right? So when anything is new, when you're presenting something new to a market, they always want to rush towards it because people always want something new, okay? And by the way, the trick to making this really, really work is something I didn't mention, is by actually, you can't just introduce a new mechanism to any market. You have to make sure the mechanism you're introducing, you want to make sure the market you're introducing this mechanism to are people who have money, okay? Because once again, you can only make a proportion of the value you're providing. If you're connecting people, if you're using cold email to connect students with counselors, you're not going to make a lot of money because obviously counselors and students are broke, right? So you want to obviously serve people on the high-end market with your mechanism, whatever your mechanism is going to be. That was a kind of a crappy explanation, but hopefully you kind of get a gist of what I'm trying to explain. I'm going to give you some explanations of basically people actually doing this. I'm going to start off with me, for example. Okay, so for example, here, I'm using cold emails currently right now to companies in the health tech space. As you can see, we send basically 1,000 emails within the past 6 days. That's literally just like 200 emails per day. Not even a lot, right? And we generated 8 opportunities. That's just about $6,000 on the front end, and on the back end, every client is literally worth a couple of hundreds of grands. So you're looking at about at least $1 million right there on back end fees if we sign all these people up. Okay? So, and this is, by the way, nothing crazy. The copy is nothing extreme. The copy is actually not even that great. But what did we do? It was a new market. They're not familiar with cold emailing, and we're selling them a service. By the way, these companies, if you were interested in knowing what I was kind of offering to these health tech companies, I was offering to get their systems into more hospitals and clinics. And to them, any one client is worth like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So even if I get them just 6 clients a year, that's like 600 grand. And if they could pay me just 10% of that $6,000, that $600,000 a year, that's $6,000. Obviously, we want to make more than that. But I'm just giving you an example of taking a mechanism that's used and widespread in some saturated niche like Shopify or all that kind of BS, and putting inside of a sector that's completely ignorant to this whole methodology. So I'm not just feeding you fumes here. If you're listening to this, by the way, my apologies. I will say go to YouTube so you can check this out. But we can let you see this. A 50% response rate. So not only do you get a lot of responses, but people are even raving towards you even more, because this is something, once again, novel to them. They're not used to this methodology. So they're like, what the hell? And by the way, these emails, we don't even sell them on these emails we're sending to these people. We don't talk to them about, we don't say, hey, we're going to use cold emails to get your clients. No, we're going to sell them the outcome. And when they go on a call, we'll explain to them how what we're using is how cold email is what we're going to be using to get them the clients, obviously. Okay? Kind of wanted to go over that, number one. An example of someone actually doing this, if you guys are familiar with someone called Cole Gordon, okay? So Cole Gordon, basically what he's doing is he basically has a staffing placement agency. Staffing/placement agency. But what he did was, instead of just being a regular placement staff agency for medical offices, these professionals and all that kind of stuff, he's doing a placement agency for people who want closers, specifically high ticket closers. You get what I'm saying? So it's very, very niched down. Okay? And he's a staff agency basically, okay? But for high ticket. And it's something that's really, really not unheard of. It was something really, I can say, from my perspective, he pioneered. And now, obviously, a lot of people are copying that also. They're selling. I'm seeing that a lot now. But the person who gets the biggest share of the market is the one who starts it, obviously. Right? So he has the biggest share of the market from my perspective in terms of placing high-ticket sales representatives for individuals within their companies. Because he can ramp you up within a minimum of a couple of weeks. And how his process works is he actually sells salesmen his course on how to get them into high ticket sales jobs. And he trains them and then takes them also and sells them to other people. So he's making money on the salespeople. He's actually doing a good job teaching them, obviously, but then he's also selling those people. It's kind of like trafficking a bit, right? The intermediary always makes the most money because they don't need the talent. All they need to do is bring one to one. That's what I'm obviously doing with RAC. RAC, we're intermediary. We help you get capital. We help you get deals. We also help you get in contact with people who want to buy your businesses. We do not have any kind of IP. We're the intermediary. Our IP is the trust that we have and the brand that we're building. So Cole Gordon is an example of someone basically taking an old model, an old mechanism, and basically putting it into a different industry that's kind of unheard of, A second example, basically, I'm going to give to you is, you're probably, I don't know, hopefully, I'm assuming you're aware of a platform called Online Jobs PH. So Online Jobs PH is basically a place that you can go and hire Filipino virtual assistants. Okay? You can hire talent or look for work. There's a lot of talent that you get here. You can hire people here for $3, $2, $4, $5, and they'll do work for you better than people in America. And obviously, it seems like a bit of slave trading. It seems like, why are you paying people $3 an hour, But hey, $3 an hour to them is like $15 here. So you need to understand the economy. The economy is not the same. So it's not like you're cheating them out. You're paying them their actual wage, even probably sometimes even more. So you need to realize that, number one. Obviously, you want to compensate them. You don't want to make them feel like there's a sweatshop in China. But so the second example, without me getting diverted, the second example is Online Jobs PH. So a lot of people, what they're doing nowadays is they're taking the model of Online Jobs PH, which is taking virtual assistants and trafficking them for other people, basically. Not trafficking, but like kind of help other people get in contact with virtual assistants for like $3. Because, excuse my explanation here, what Online Jobs PH is doing is they have the people submit the application. It's like an Indeed, but for people that are Filipinos. But what online jobs PH, there's a lot of discrepancies with it. The people might not be trained properly. They might lie on their resume. They might not really be that ideal. So what a lot of people are doing nowadays is that they're taking the same business model that online jobs PH has, but they're vetting these people more, and they're actually training these people more on a specific thing. So, for example, someone might want setters, that virtual assistants, right? So what one individual does is they find a lot of people. They submit a job application literally on online jobs PH, because this is what they're doing. So I'm giving you the game. That's what black people say. I'm giving you the game, right? So what a lot of people are doing nowadays is they submit an application on online jobs PH, okay, and they have a bunch of Filipinos apply to that job, and they put those people through a screening process, and they train those people on a specific. They train those people on doing a specific thing, and then they offshore those people to other companies, selling them for like $4,000 or $5,000 and a recurring fee also. So it's still like a placement agency, but guess what? They're teaching them. And this you can do this for any kind of offer. You can do this for like a real estate niche. You can have like virtual assistants that are great in cold calling. You can be placing them inside people's companies, make monthly recurring revenue. It is so many things you can do with this, because this is basically you're arbitraging people's time. And if you can make just $1 or like $5 or whatever the hell it is from like 1,000 virtual assistants just by training them with an SOP over and over, this is like printing money for yourself. Okay, I think I'm actually even going to make a video on this, on how to actually. The reason why I don't want to make a video on this is probably because I don't do it, and I don't plan on doing it because I want to make sure my attention is really focused. But this is a business model that I'm seeing so many people rip with. It's very, very simple. It's very, very scalable also, because it's a risk repeat process. With that being said, the third example of someone actually doing this exact thing, which is taking an old mechanism and introducing it into a new market and ripping it, is everyone's newest favorite, which is Alex Hormozi. So Alex Hormozi is basically a small PE firm, okay, with a hint of branding and leading with value. So he's taking, I guess you can say, Gary Vaynerchuk's approach of giving value over and over and over, right? And teaching people from his mistakes and luring them into his mechanism, and then downselling them basically and becoming one of his portfolio companies. So this is a quick video. Obviously I went over time, but hopefully this makes sense to you. It's very, very simple. It's just really taking your domain expertise that you have, finding a market that has a need. And if you have marketing expertise, basically you can apply it to any market, because obviously any market needs leads. So if you can find out if you can find out what they need, if that's going to be needs, if that's going to be leads, whatever the hell it is, if you can find that out and you can find a way to get that solution, you're great. So just taking an old mechanism, finding a market that has a need, and making sure that market has money, obviously, because you want to make sure whatever solution you're giving to them is not a cheap solution. You could get a pest control company 100 leads, 100 jobs every single month, but you still probably wouldn't be able to make $100,000 every single month with that pest control company, right? Because obviously the value that they're offering to the market is not perceived to be that high. With that being said, this is Kevin, this is Robin, this is Abraham, this is Jonathan, and hopefully you like this piece of content. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you on the next one. With that being said, peace out.